Hello everyone and welcome back to the Common Sense Crypto channel. As with you always, this is Rich doing another video today on XRP. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day today wherever you are in this great world. We're gonna talk about XRP. And I gotta start with this from Blue Hawk Legend. Stablecoins are powering DAO banks and their role in high-risk areas. So stablecoins have paved a way for a new generation of financial services. For example, stablecoins have provided the foundation for decentralized on-chain banks, or DAO banks, that embrace stablecoins as their native currency. DAO banks make digital banking and financial services accessible to everyone, even people who do not meet strict account opening criteria. They also attract people who do not trust traditional institutions with their money. Users keep complete control of their funds through non-custodial accounts and enjoy real-time transaction transparency. Now, about a week ago, I did a video and I talked about RLUSD and how you could be earning 4 to 5% on your RLUSD. And people said, why would I invest my money into a stable coin? I'm not telling you to do that. What I'm telling you is this. The RLUSD is offering more money on your money than the local bank offers. So say it's the bear market. You cashed out some crypto. You're waiting to buy back in on the dip. While you're waiting for that to happen, you could be earning off of holding RLUSD in your Coinbase account, Uphold account, or wherever you buy your crypto, is what I'm telling you. And this is going to open up more possibilities for people that just don't trust the bank anymore. They could put their money into a DAO bank and actually earn 4 or 5% interest. We talked a lot about the banks being in the testing phase, but why are they in the testing phase? This comes from Smoke. In the same presentation, major confirmation was given that all the major banks partnered with Ripple, including the important institutions like Santander, Bank of America, and Standard Chartered, are operating in test mode. If these major banks are still in the testing phase, it means they have not yet fully integrated Ripple's technology into their live day-to-day operations. This explains the lack of significant price movement for XRP, despite its potential utility. And even David Schwartz said this right here. The main limiting factor right now is everyone having enough confidence that the system is going to work correctly, that they're willing to flip the switch and let it make large, irreversible payments without intervention. Right now, the banks are most likely still in the testing phase because they're not ready to pull the switch yet, but that is eventually going to happen. And that's when we will see the price of XRP change very fast. And once these handful of banks that are working with Ripple do it, every other bank is going to want to get on board, because this is going to allow Santander and all those other banks that I just mentioned, they're going to get the upper hand on the competition. So the competition either adopts the same technology or they get left behind. It's going to cause a network effect to happen. CFTC removes regulatory hurdles for crypto derivatives market. Without going through this whole article, here's what they did. They said this over here is a digital asset derivative, and this over here is a traditional financial instrument. That's what they did. So now they're starting to classify digital assets going forward. This is going to help this, them say this over here is this and this is that. This can be used in the new financial system. This is still left behind in the traditional system. Wow, I had to get that right. And that's what it does. It tells everybody else this is what this is. Top 10 richest people in crypto. So you see the top 10 right there. Brad Garlinghouse is number 5. Chris Larson is number 6. If XRP was to take off right now and hit, say, $10, Chris Larson and Brad Garlinghouse would probably take the number 1 spot. A lot of people are saying Brad and Chris are going to be trillionaires in this current run. But look at who's number 1 is right now. Satoshi Nakamoto, $93 billion. Who the hell is Satoshi? And don't you think if they're going to stockpile Bitcoin at the US government, don't you think every single person in America should have the right to know who Satoshi is? Especially when they start taking taxpayer money to buy Bitcoin. That's going to happen, in my opinion. Right now, they're like, it's not going to cost a taxpayer anything. Later, they will shift that narrative. They'll say, well, we have to buy because of this. We have to buy because of this. We have to position ourselves correctly because of this over here. But if they ever use taxpayer money, we should demand to know who Satoshi is. Now, there's a lot of coins on the XRP ledger. There's new ones all the time. You know, people always want me to shill this XRP ledger coin or that coin, but I don't talk about meme coins. Testing AI gent posting from AI. So you see, you could create an agent here or explore tokens. You could even launch a token. And it's very easy. Create your agent, create the personality and contacts ingested of your choice to your agent. Configure agent capabilities. Deploy the agent, sit back and relax. It's literally that easy. That's why all these new meme coins keep popping up on the XRP ledger. What's going to happen going forward once we get regulations? All of these coins are going to disappear like an overnight event. And a lot of people keep saying, you know, they're not bringing AI into the XRP ledger, but we already see the projects building out. And soon we're also going to see AI agents as well. Take a listen to Brad Garlinghouse right here.
More good for crypto, or is crypto going to do more good for AI?
That's a great question.
I am here.
The tyranny of the or versus the power of the and.
Again.
I think they'll both be good for each other. I think one of the things that, but back in 20 years ago, as the internet was earliest days, it was so hard to predict how these technologies were going to evolve and how use cases would evolve to deliver better experiences. In the AI world, one of the things I think it's hard to predict is you probably will have a future where some AI agents become economic actors. And if they become economic actors, they probably need to have some different type of payment infrastructure than how the world works today, because they're probably, you could imagine an AI agent that is facilitating micropayments that you simply can't do over traditional rails, which I think is where AI actually helps crypto in various ways. You talked about, you know, use cases and mass adoption. You know, maybe mass adoption and the number of wallets on a blockchain will explode because you're going to have hundreds of thousands or millions of AI agents that become economic actors.
So what Brad just told us was a couple of things. We're going to see the rise of AI agents. That's all the hype right now already. But he also told us that we are holding the robot money when we're holding crypto, because they're going to have to transact on a different type of system other than what we have today. And AI agents are also going to lead to mass adoption of crypto as well. And the first time I ever heard that clip, it didn't hit me right away until I listened to it a couple more times. Then I got to where Brad thinks this is going. This is the future. AI and blockchain coming together. Rep. Tim Boucher says he thinks there's a paper trail of money that was sent overseas that ended up back in the pockets of lawmakers in Washington, D.C. He said that there will soon be a lot of retirements. I was saying this back in 2022, 2023, and people back then said, no, that money's going to do good in Ukraine. And I said, this is one big money laundering operation. Now it's somebody else telling you that's what was happening all along. And how the hell did Ukraine become the number 4 holder of Bitcoin? I'm still waiting to see how much Bitcoin the US is still holding. Because I know they said that they're going to audit how much of that Bitcoin we actually have. I wonder how much ended up in Ukraine. Because they don't mine Bitcoin in Ukraine. This is all supposedly it has come from donations. That's where they say all of this Bitcoin came from. I think some of it came from the US government. And most likely politicians that were trying to hide the transactions. But we'll see where this goes from here. Why institutions are hesitant about decentralized finance. The main concerns are regulatory uncertainty, privacy limitations, and complex user experience. And that's real, but solvable. Innovations in privacy-preserving protocols are making DeFi increasingly compatible with enterprise needs. They need to make it very simple for the institutions to onboard. Because if it's complicated, they're never going to do it. They're never going to build out all these projects that I think they're going to be building out over the rest of this year. But it's also regulations. The good thing is, it looks like they're trying to fast track regulations right now. And we're still waiting on Atkins at the SEC as well. Once he's there, I think things will move along much quicker. But DeFi is absolutely coming. Centralization and the dark side of asset tokenization. Most tokenized assets will be issued on permissioned or semi-centralized blockchains. This gives authorities the power to issue restrictions or confiscate assets. The tokenization of assets such as real estate or bonds is still tied to the national legal system. Like I said, there's a few dark sides to tokenization. They keep talking like they're going to tokenize private property, private businesses. Everything is going to become a token on a blockchain. But private property, how do they get that from the person that actually owns it? The other thing I'm worried about with tokenization is you're going to have a lot of fraud involved in tokenization. Early on, I think they'll solve that problem very fast as it's happening, because it's all going to be fully transparent. But tokenization is absolutely going to amp up this year. And as that amp up happens, I want to see how quick things change around tokenization. I want to see what kind of laws they put in place ahead of tokenization. Because that's another thing that's holding back tokenization is regulations. Because Gary Gensler said that some tokenized assets can be securities. And nobody wanted that to happen. So we're kind of still in the calm before the storm with tokenization as well. And Elon Musk says, "End the Fed." Take a listen to this.
On behalf of America, for the idiots you have to deal with for what you're doing for us to improve our country. Second of all, my question is, what is your opinion on the Federal Reserve, and do you have any intentions of doing anything with them?
And the Fed. Yeah. I don't know. I always wanted to say that, you know. But I mean, I think there's like 20,000 people that work at the Fed. Seems pretty high. It's like there's a lot of people that work at the Fed, and it seems like, why do we have so many people at the Fed, and what do they do? And you know, sometimes I wonder which one would win. You know, the federal for interest rates, the board of the Federal Reserve, or a magic 8-ball. And I'm like, I think the magic 8-ball might win. You know. So then I'm like, well, magic 8-ball is a lot cheaper. So you know, it's like you shake it, it says check back again later. I'm like, okay. Same thing. But I think what really matters is that government spending is not far in excess of government revenue. That's a fundamental issue that we have, where we have a deficit of $2 trillion, and we have interest payments that now exceed the entire budget of the military. In fact, that was a big wake-up call for me, was when the amount of money that we pay in national debt interest exceeded the Defense Department budget. I'm like, the Defense Department budget is very big, and interest is higher than that and climbing. That's a disaster. You know, so the very simple, straightforward goal of the Doge team is to get rid of waste and fraud. It's mostly waste. It's or depending on how, you know, I'd say it's probably 80% waste, 20% fraud, something like that.
So when he says end the Fed, how does that happen? If we were to go to a gold-backed system, which I absolutely think is coming, it's most likely going to be a gold-backed digital currency, like a digital dollar. That would definitely put us on the path to ending the Fed. Also, I see a lot of power shifting from the Fed back to the Treasury now. And I always thought, well, eventually we will see the Fed come to an end. And I always thought it would happen once Jerome Powell is gone at the Fed in 2026. But right now, all the Fed does is come out with magical numbers to give to the people. Oh, inflation's at this percent right now, so we got to keep fighting inflation, which the Fed caused in the first place. And that's why the Fed is never going to be good going forward. It's just going to be the same old, same old. And we are on the verge of going over to a fully digital system and a system of transparency. And I don't know how the Fed would even look in a system like that, because a lot goes on that we most likely have no idea. You know, and money printers, everybody always puts up these video clips of them printing all this money. All they really do is they go in on a computer and just change a digit, and that's it. It's not like the days of the past where we're printing all of this new money. But going forward, if we're going to go into the golden age, I think that is what will end the Fed. And as the Fed gets ended, I think Ripple would be a great replacement for the Fed. Ripple looks more and more like a central bank all the time. It's almost, you could just say right now, Ripple is a bank, because they do every single thing that a bank does. And if they were to replace the Fed, where would that leave us as XRP holders? And how would that change things around XRP? We really don't know yet. I'm sure it would be very bullish for XRP, and I'm sure XRP would be very expensive. But how expensive? Anybody could speculate on a number. They could say, well, that would push it to $50,000 per XRP. But I want to see where things go from here, and that'll give us a good idea on what's going to happen next year when Jerome Powell leaves the Fed. But until it all happens, stay patient, stay positive, and let's get rich together. With that said, I'm going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great night.